Hey, James Suarez here with the Feynman Suarez team, here with two of my favorite clients. We have Dana and Frank. We have a daughter-father dynamic duo. We recently sold their house in Playa del Rey. I can probably tell you that it wasn't the smoothest transaction ever in the history of real estate. So I asked them here today to share their experiences with me. So Dana, Frank, thank you very much for being here. So you signed the listing, right? But let's circle back a little further. You decided that you wanted to sell your house. We're here in Westlake Hills. You wanted to move out here. When it came to picking the agent, tell me about that experience.
You were pretty confident in what price it should go on the market, and as I think is very typical, we thought it was worth more.
Because I remember you called me and you said, James, I want an agent who's going to tell me, what the truth, what the actual value of my house is. And a part of, our job every day is to tell sellers, what they need to hear versus they want to hear. Mm-hmm. And I think I did tell you what you needed to hear versus what you wanted. And
in retrospect, you were dead on, and we figured that out really fast once we unfortunately signed with the other realtor. But I wish I had paid more attention to what you said.
Well, the realtor we chose agreed to put the house on for, I think it was $2.2 million.
James
thought us it'd be about $2 million, $1.95 to $2 million. He was right on. He said, well, that's an optimistic price, but no problem, that's all.
That's what.
And that was our biggest mistake. And that and the realtor we chose. Because soon found out we got very little to no feedback. We had a few group conference calls that were anything but satisfying. I soon, and I think my daughter also, felt that the lead realtor was just a figurehead. A closer, if you will, wasn't really on top of what was going on in the market or anything else. They just wanted the listing and really wasn't very well informed or helpful or giving us good advice. 2 weeks after we put it on, it was, well, maybe we should drop the price. But there wasn't any good reason. So we dropped maybe $100,000. And then anyway, the bottom line is we got practically no interest in this house. It was also delayed feedback, very poor feedback. And frankly, he's got the impression they weren't working that hard, or they had too many other things to do. They'd go through the motions, but I did not get the feeling, and by the end of it, I was more than upset that these people just weren't hustling. They either weren't not competent, they didn't have the networks, they didn't have the agents, they weren't getting any interest, and we soon started calling James.
all right, so you decided to go with this other agent, understandably, because again, I understand that if I tell you your house is worth 1.9 to 2, and another agent tells you it's worth 2.2 to 2.3, yeah, that number is obviously much more attractive. In the industry, we call it buying the listing. And as an agent, we have to ask ourselves every day, what approach do we want to take? The honest, kind of ethical approach, or do we want to kind of misguide our clients? And what I'm hearing from you guys is you signed the listing and immediately kind of felt misguided and a little left out, in the dark. You weren't knowing what was going on.
Absolutely.
We just comparatively had no interest in the house. And I came back to discover that the marketing materials that had been passed out at our open houses and were left at our house were incorrect. It hadn't been caught by the lead realtor. It hadn't been caught by anyone on her team, no one in the marketing department. Basically, anyone who'd come through our house in that first month, which was over 100 people, I think, had incorrect information to walk away with.
That's kind of frustrating.
It was really frustrating, and on a $2 million home, that's kind of an unacceptable mistake. Mistakes happen. What's even worse is that it happened 2 more times. in our tenure with that other realtor.
So let's take it to the point that there's no showings, the marketing material was wrong multiple times, the conference calls weren't getting you anywhere. You decided, okay, we need to jump ship and move over to our team.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the smoothest experience, if I remember correctly. So
No.
tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I think I
Yep.
handled some of those calls, and
The other realtor really did not want to let us out of our contract.
that's for sure.
And you know, if we have any advice to impart, it's read the fine print. But despite the fact that we were able to point out some very tangible mistakes and problems that had been made by her team, aside from the fact that our house hadn't sold, nobody's ever happy when their house hasn't sold, but some actual problems with how her team was handling it, she was very reluctant to let us out of our contract.
Extremely reluctant, and it took some, threatening and
To talk to
pushing.
lawyers.
I basically had to say, I do not want to do business with you.
That was a huge learning lesson for me. And if there's anything we can impart and why we're happy to do the video today, is that everything you said turned out to be true. You were very honest. I wish I had listened more carefully.
All right, so there's a lot of sellers out there that are going to interview us and other top teams in the area. One of them being this agent, right? Because she's one of the top teams in Silicon Beach. From your point of view, what are the main difference between our team and her team now that you've had experience working with both?
I would say professionalism and customer service. What your team delivered in terms of staging and marketing materials and feedback was bar none by comparison. Pulse of the market, you know your market and you know what's going on and why homes should be priced the way they are. You told us at our first meeting what the biggest impediment to selling our house was going to be, and you were absolutely spot on. And no other realtor we met with even mentioned it, and yet you were the one who said, it's gonna be this, and let me tell you why. And then I would say drive. You guys work so hard to not only serve your clients, but also to sell someone's home. You take it personally. This is not just a numbers game and a business for you. I really feel strongly that you're in this to build relationships, and you get that feeling from the start.